welcome to the second in the series of the PDN Development Diaries. So this time I've got with me Maryam Master, who's the assistant buyer at Cadent and the winner of the combined Eastern and Midlands PDN competition for 2024. And then we've also got Nicola Asker on as well from the Midlands PDN committee. So Maryam, do you want to just give a brief introduction to yourself?
Yes, hi, my name's Maryam. So yeah, I've been working at Cadent for a few years now. And I started off as a commercial trainee and now I'm an assistant buyer working in procurement. Yeah, sure. Do you want me to go into the PPE yet? Or do you want me to
what did your training program look like?
So the training program was it was a 24 months program. And we were doing a project management qualification, but within that we were working with the graduates too. So mine was more of an apprenticeship, and then we had the graduates, but we worked alongside them quite a lot. And that's how the hijab PPE came along, was because of a training week that we had to do where we were given a project to do, and our team got it was hard hat safety. And from there we actually spoke about inclusivity, and the hijab PPE actually got mentioned of that's something that we don't have. And if you think about it, when you wear a hard hat and you've got a hijab underneath, you don't really think that, oh, this is made of cotton, or which is most of the time, which is flammable. So if you do, which, as you know, when you go into the site, everything has to be, flame retardant. So that's how we went about creating the hijab PPE. I went to PWS, who is our PPE supplier, and I asked if this is something that we can do. They were very happy to help. So we went through a lot of samples. We took some inspiration from the sports hijab, and we finally got like a final product. And yeah, and we've had that for over a year now, which is great.
Brilliant. It's definitely it's unbelievable that it wasn't something that was already a thing, to be completely honest. So it's a great piece of work and a great project, and sort of coming from such a sort of early part of your career in Cadent and the industry, sort of working on something like that and identifying that as a great piece of work.
Mm-hmm.
So on the so before that then, why Cadent and why procurement?
Yeah, so I never went to uni. So I was initially going to go and I was going to become a nurse. And then I don't know what happened. I kind of was like, I wasn't sure. I got accepted into uni and stuff, but I just wasn't feeling it 100%. So I thought, you know what, let me go to work instead. And if I really want to go back, I can easily go back. So I actually started off working in a law firm for a few years. I did love that job. I like the processes, I like the contracts, I like the legal stuff. But I never actually wanted to pursue, it was in property law, so I didn't actually want to pursue conveyancing because I could have done that without a degree. So I was looking at other options, and Cadent popped up as this apprenticeship for project management. So I decided to apply for it. Not really 100% sure. I didn't even know who Cadent was. Didn't really know anything about Cadent, which I think a lot of people don't know about to this day. When I tell people that, oh, work for Cadent, and they're like, what is that? And then yeah, I got accepted into this job role, and it's been a few years now. And I'm quite glad that within Cadent, I have the ability to move around, and I'm still doing like contract management. I'm still, working with people, working with suppliers, and also looking at like legal things like the Procurement Act that's coming out. It's been great. And I also like the fact that I've got the opportunity to move around within Cadent.
Yeah, and I think knowing like what you want to do when you start out is really uncertain, isn't it? It's sort of what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Well, I don't know. And so certainly having the opportunity to come into an industry, into a company, and have the options to look at what's available and look at the options that you can progress and develop into. So with that then, so you've done a commercial training program, you got your project management qualification under your belt, you're in procurement as an assistant buyer now. What's next? Is there anything next?
I think so. Personally, I still feel, as in I'm still quite young, I'm 24. I still feel like I'm still not 100% sure where I'm going. Like I'm still not 100% set on a job role yet. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know kind of the vibes that I like. I know, the contracting, the supplier management, supplier relationships. I love all of that. And I'm just picking up skills wherever I can, going to like different trainings, like wherever I can, which like within the company, outside the company. I've also got like a mentor outside the company, which is in the women utilities, which is great. And yeah, so I think I'm really enjoying myself at the moment, but it's safe to say I'm not too sure where I'm going to be in the future. But I'm very, very open to anything and everything.
I think you're right. Like that's totally fine. And I think it's thinking about future jobs is almost a bit like trying to pick a new house. It's kind of know the things that are like essential. Like these are the things I really enjoy. These are the bits of my day that I look forward to, or that like energize me, the bits of the job that you love. But also then the flip side of I am never going to work in a team that does this or for a manager like that, or what are the deal breakers that you're just like, nope, not going near that no matter what. And that gives you like definitely a filter.
I think also like I'm quite lucky working in procurement because we have to work with all the different like sectors in Cadent. So I'm working with like regulatory or like property or the commercial people, as well as like the engineers and like energy ops. So I feel like I'm learning a lot about the different sectors. So I'm always looking and thinking.
So you mentioned you've got a mentor then, and a mentor outside of the company. So how did you get that? How did that come about?
So I went to an event actually for women in utilities, and they actually mentioned it like on their website that they have like mentorships. And so I had a look, and there's like profiles for other people, like for mentors, and you get to just kind of have a look and pick who seems suitable for you. And so I've had a mentor for like a few months now. I meet with her once a month, and we just run through, where I want to be, or like what type of jobs maybe I would like to be in. So for example, I don't like what's the word, like when things are repetitive. I'm not a big fan. I like it when things are changing, things are different every day. And so we were looking at, how can I utilize that in my job at the moment. I think luckily my job is quite, every day is a little bit different. We have to prioritize things. So we've been looking at that. We've been looking at, updating my CV. And she's also helped me like build a network with other people. And like for example, other project managers in different companies, just to speak about, see what they do. And I'm always just searching for an opportunity, just like the hijab PPE. I think that was never within my job role, but I went out of my job role just to get this done.
And so you're fairly new to the industry as well, but you're pretty experienced in some bits. You've done a lot of training, a lot of development, and you must have learned a lot in your time. So do you do any sort of, I suppose, payback to development of others, and how do you support and look at that?
So I do like to speak to the new graduates that have come in. I also lead the Muslim working group in Cadent. So I'm always trying to bring like people in, to do things like volunteering or like charity events. So I always try to reel with the new graduates and take them in. I speak to them, like I give them ideas of where they want to go, or like the different teams in the company, and also see if like sometimes they want like opportunities of building their confidence to talk at like events or do some videos, and I always try to bring that for them. but yeah, so I think it's quite nice talking to like the new apprentices and the graduates and helping them wherever they can, because I have been through it.
I think it really helps having gone through a development program, a pathway, and even formally or informally. I think recognizing that is really important, and like I say, repaying the favour. I know it's something Nicola touched on as well when we discussed it with her. So it's certainly a good trait to have, and it certainly pays back dividends when they help you out in the future.
Yeah.
So I suppose really just sort of want to open up. I know Chris has joined as well, and Mohammed as well. If you've got any questions, either stick your hands up or just chip in. For any of us really, myself, Maryam, or Nicola. So I want to just sort of, you mentioned there about the Muslim working group within Cadent and some of the Cadent communities that obviously I'm aware of with being within Cadent. So do you want to just touch on a bit more around sort of your role in that, because I think it's really interesting. And
so I started off in Embrace. Embrace is a committee we have in Cadent, which is to do with race, religion, and it's just to celebrate but also bring awareness to these things. And within that we have the subgroups. So one of them is the Muslim working group, and so whenever it comes around to like Ramadan, or it comes to like Eid, which we have a couple of, and also Islamophobia Awareness Month in November, we tend to raise awareness and do events or do lunch and learns. And so I was kindly offered this role as a lead, and I think it's been I've really enjoyed it. It's been great meeting a lot of people within the company, out the company, and then when we do these stalls, it's amazing when people come up to you and you just have conversations about, and that it's so nice to know that people are actually interested and wanting to learn more about your culture and religion. So like, for example, in Ramadan we actually did a Cadent day of fasting. So a lot of colleagues, they decided to fast on the day, and we gave them a pack, and they were letting us know about their experience of like waking up for sunrise and eating at sunset. And yeah, it's been great. I do enjoy being part of this group. It's nice to be part of something, definitely.
Yeah, I think also being in part of groups like that is like really great for your career as well, like anything that's kind of outside of your day job. So whether it's being on like a pig committee or something internal, like I think I used to run like the new net committee that was for like new starters, but every company has stuff like that, and I just think it means you cross paths with people you wouldn't meet normally, so you make all sorts of connections that you'll find like weeks later you're having to talk to them for a work reason, and you already have like a point of connection that's like, oh yeah, do you remember when we met during that such and such event, or it is, or you can recommend to other people, like someone in your team has a problem and you're like, oh, you need to talk to this person I met from procurement, or like,
yeah, no, it's very true. I have noticed people do come to me with their procurement queries now.
Like when you've got a friend who's a doctor.
But I think it gives you the opportunity to do things development wise that you wouldn't normally get exposed to. Like we all participate in meetings, we all chair meetings, we all like have those little discussions, but having it about something that's not related to your job role, slightly different with a different sort of agenda, isn't it? There's not like a community group or an ad hoc sort of working group or committee. One of the biggest things is getting people bought in, getting people engaged, and continuing that engagement and buying, because it's quite an easy thing. We've all done it, I'm sure we have. And you've got a meeting in your calendar. I could do with the hour back, or I could do with that half an hour back. But I think it's really important that when you're leading those sort of groups to think, well, actually people go, well, that's not the meeting I'm going to cancel today. I'm going to get there. I'm going to go on that. I'm going to engage with it, because I think it's really important that you do and that people recognise that. So yeah. Any questions from yourself, Nicola, for Maryam?
I guess also you sort of competed in the paper competition. How did you find that? Just I'm really curious, because
I think I was a little bit nervous, especially the one for the Midlands, and but it was great, the show of support that like people turned up, and it was great. My director turned up, and so did my manager, and they stayed later. And it was also just interesting to meet other people from, I think there was a couple of people from National Gas as well, and just to network with people was great. And yeah, I think I want to say I'm fairly confident in presenting, so I don't think I struggled in that part, but I think I do struggle a little bit with meeting people and networking like that. But everyone's friendly and everyone was great.
Good. So would you encourage other people to apply for next year?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's a good experience to have, I think, and to have that under your belt as well. And yeah, there's no harm in, networking with people. You don't know what opportunities might come about it.
And how did you find transitioning to the final with the sort of 15 minutes down to 5? It's sort of
Yeah.
it's a big drop.
Yeah. No, it was a big drop. I think the thing that was like what was worrying was I didn't, whilst you're speaking, you don't know how long you've got left. So but I did it somehow. But no, that was great. Obviously it was a lot more people, so it was a little bit more scarier, I guess. And yeah, but it was enjoyable. I think I do sometimes tend to struggle with the questions at the end, but we got through it somehow. It was a good event.
Yeah, I think it sort of shows the idea of the competitions is the reason for doing the two sort of time frames is in work life you get the opportunity to speak to do a presentation on a topic for a sort of reasonable, comfortable time. 15 minutes is a good amount of time to showcase a piece of work. But then there's scenarios where you've got an agenda slot on somebody else's meeting and you've got 5 minutes. That might be in a team meeting, it might be with a senior leader or somebody externally. And so getting that message across and really clear in 5 minutes, that's the sort of idea for that concept in the final is to, okay, there's a lot of people here that are in a conference, showcase the work you've done, showcase yourself and put that across in a short time frame with one slide. And the slides helps as a bit of a crutch to lean on and look back to. I've been in meetings and presentations where people said, yeah, it's no slides, and you go, oh, you've got to then memorize what you're going to say in that time period. It's useful to practice it. It's a good behavior to practice.
Yeah, kind of that elevator pitch.
Yeah,
isn't it? It's sort of really it's harder to be concise. Something like thinking back to kind of being at school or something. If you're like you have to do a 15-minute presentation, it might have been like, oh my goodness, how do I talk for that long? Whereas now, if it's a subject you're knowledgeable about, it's definitely harder to be concise and to focus on like what is the one message I want them to go away with.
And I think that leads on to like the questions at the end. I don't know. I find the questions are hard because you don't know what the questions are going to be. So what I've found, some of the presentations I've done, I've purposely sort of half answered something in the presentation to leave it as a point for people to probe onto. I don't know if that's good or bad. People might look at it and go, he's only half said a sentence there, but I think it gives people a hook to sort of nibble on and then think,
set up easy questions for yourself.
Yeah, so it's sort of preempting those sort of potential questions and having an answer ready made. It's something that you just have to develop and practice over time. And if you don't have the opportunities, you don't put yourself forward to do these sorts of things. It is quite easy to, when you don't get put in that position, you're a bit. It's a daunting task.
Yeah, I think the thing that comes across worst if you're like in the audience or the judge is when someone asks a question, and whoever it is clearly kind of has their own agenda of like, well, I want to talk more about this thing, and you're sitting there in the audience going, that doesn't answer what they asked at all. Whereas if you don't understand the question, if you sort of admit that and go, do you mean blah blah blah, or go, I think what you're asking is, then I think that comes across better than just like winging your way through a totally different preset thing you want to talk about that's nothing to do with what they've asked. Doesn't generally come across well.
Okay, Chris, National PDN Chair on the call. I don't know if you want to ask any questions of Maryam.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Thanks, Nico. Thanks, Maryam. Just one that came to mind is sort of your involvement and engagement with the Guild, Maryam. How have you found that so far, and what do you think the opportunities are with the Guild?
I think it's been great. I think I've been speaking to Dan and Nicola and the team as well. You're all very easy to talk to, very engaging, and and I enjoyed. I've very much enjoyed the Midlands one, especially. And then when meeting in a bigger group as well, that was great. Which was just across the road from Cadent. So I've not done too much with the pipeline guilds, but I do want to continue our relationship, and I want to go to more events as well with you guys.
Cool, excellent. Yeah, one of the especially being a sort of a central function like working in procurement, or it could be any central function, there's so many synergies across the industry, be it water, be it fibre, be it gas. We're all transporting some sort of energy vector or water in some way, shape or form. We're doing the same thing in essence. So I think there's huge opportunities there for sort of cross-pollination, and especially with the hijab project, it's like, why can't we just do it in water? Or what's the differences in water, or what's the difference with electricity? How can we get this rolled out throughout the industry? I think that's one of the key things.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's something that I was actually speaking about once with the supplier recently, of how we can actually get ideas from, we don't have to just get ideas from the gas industry. We can, bounce ideas off, the electricity and the water industry too. And also with the gas, we need to make sure that things are fire retardant, which I think would differ for the water industry. But yeah, because I think there was a hijab PPE that's come out in the water industry, I think in Severn Trent. But the one thing that was the problem was that it was not fire retardant, which is how we came about the hijab. And also, I think I did forget to mention actually before, which I will mention now, is the turban PPE, which we are creating. We've got a little group going who are testing it out. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we will have that out soon as well. So just watch the space.
Brilliant. That's great, and thanks, Chris, for the question. I think again, it's just that reflection across the wider industry. On the call, myself, Maryam, Nicola, Chris, all work for gas companies, so it's quite easy to get focused on the gas elements. So actually, when you look at it, like Chris says, a pipe's pipe, just what in it's slightly different. So yeah, it's great to sort of from a guild perspective to look across at what's going on in other industries and take some of that best practice and knowledge sharing. And with that in mind, I'm just going to share the screen and just show some of the upcoming events that the guild has got. Just bear with me. So where we are today, we've got the webinar that we're on. In a month's time, we've got the site visit to Grain LNG. So that's a really interesting event and site visit and opportunity as well that doesn't come around very often, and certainly it's something that I've signed up to personally. So I'll be heading down to the southeast coast and looking at the liquefied natural gas terminal there, and sort of seeing some of the activities that go on site. It's really quite interesting. There's a webinar for pipe handlers later on in September, and then the Midlands webinar again for delivering Project Union, something that Nicola has kindly organised with her colleagues at National Gas to look into the materials testing for the transition into a hydrogen backbone in the transmission system. And then we've got some other events sort of closing out the year. We're hoping as a Midlands section to get some more events in the diary, webinars, in-person events, and hopefully another one of these or another couple of these before the year's out. I think they're useful to get people together, to get people talking. Unfortunately, not as many people on as we'd hoped today. But I think again the big thing is getting people talking, getting people on these calls, and then getting it on YouTube and getting the message out there for people to listen to in the spare time. Appreciate not everyone can join a Teams meeting, especially people out in the field. So it's important that this is an accessible platform for people to listen in or listen later on. Mohammed, just conscious you're on the call as well. Is there any questions you've got for anyone?
To be honest, no, Daniel, I've just been listening in, to be honest, because my experience, covering different industries, currently working in the, consultancy sector as well, to be honest. So just me listening to what Maryam has been, covering as well, to be honest, So I don't know whether anybody has got any questions for me or, wanted to ask any questions or discuss anything.
Yeah, or just, I suppose, what's your sort of role in what industry and company do you currently work for?
I mean, I work for a company called Royal Host Canning, Royal Host Canning DHV. So I'm actually involved in like different projects, like defense projects, potable water projects as well. To be honest, a couple of international projects based in Saudi Arabia. I think there's one coming up for gas as well. To be honest, so I think this one, that one be a bit good one as well, because I've worked in oil and gas for nearly 10 years. So I've changed jobs as well. I've worked in valve industry as well for a couple of years, automotive. So right now I'm in the consultancy. So I'm actually covering a range of different projects, defense and different ones, which are, covering my background as well.
Oh, brilliant. And in terms of the guild, are you on any of the development network committees or any work that you're doing in that space? Pipeline Industries Guild?
Not at the moment. No, not at the moment. But I'm quite looking to get myself more in. I'm a STEM ambassador as well. To be honest, I've got my hands in a lot of pies at the moment. To be honest, I'm struggling for time at the moment. To be honest, so I was just doing my work, and I said I'll probably join this call as well and just listen to Maryam as well. Discuss, because she's going to discuss her experience as well. To be honest.
Yeah, no, that's great. And what we'll get done after the call is we'll make sure that Zara does link you in with your local sort of PDN network, so that any things that are going off locally to you, any webinars, any site visits, things like that, making sure that you've got visibility of those that are coming up, and vice versa. If there's anything that you've got going on workload wise that you'd be keen to share or promote or offer opportunities, that'd be great for something if that's something you could support with.
Sure, that's fine. It's not a problem. Yeah.
Brilliant. So I suppose we're sort of about half an hour in now. I suppose sort of looking to closing comments really. So Maryam, anything from yourself?
No, nothing from me, I don't think. But yeah, just I think one thing that I've learned in this industry is, try to, just like Mohammed said, try to stick your finger in as many pies as you like, get that experiences, and you just don't know what opportunities might come from it.
Yeah. Nicola?
Yeah, I guess the applications will be opening in the next month or so for next year's competition. So tell your friends, encourage everyone to apply, because kind of like Maryam said, like, give it a go. Why not? What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, and I think finally for me, not knowing what's next, I don't think it's a problem. Just finding your way, muddling your way through it. If that's your way of doing it, that works. That will work. Works for plenty of people. But also, if you have got a structured plan, fair play to you. And I think it's just really important that you're not too hard on that plan, and things happen and things change, and yeah, it's a pathway. So